Hi, everybody. I'm Ronnie.
Hello, and I'm Jenny, and we are the Heart and Soul Sisters.
That was fast. You got it. I didn't even have a chance to open my mouth.
I thought I better get
Oh,
that in there before there's a glitch or
that's a
something.
good idea. Good, always a good plan. Oh,
Yeah.
so today we're continuing in our streak of talking about people who we've encountered, read their books,
Met them.
met them, yeah, experienced something really cool with
Yay.
them. So
Cool.
this is kind of a continuation of last week. We were talking about Brian Weiss, who, yeah, it had to be 12 or 13 years ago when you encountered his books and said, hey, you got to read this. And then I'm trying to think exactly when it was, probably 5 years ago now. I was so okay. Maybe I should back up. After having read Brian Weiss's books, I wanted to experience regression therapy to see what would happen. You actually had done a session, and I was
Mm-hmm.
envious. I wanted to experience it myself. And Brian Weiss has some self-guided meditations you can use, but there are
Mm-hmm.
some minds that just won't let go. And I think
Mm-hmm.
mine is a skeptical, rational mind is one of those. So I was not able to have any successes with myself with the guided meditation. So I kept looking for opportunities to have some kind of experience with regression therapy to give it a shot. And I think it was probably 5 years ago now, might even be longer than that, that I was looking at what
Yeah.
was happening at Kripalu, and Ainslie MacLeod showed up saying a workshop on past life regression. And I remember saying to my daughter, I'd taken her to Kripalu once, and I said, hey, there's this thing coming up. I want to go to this. And what do you think? And she's like, okay. like it didn't really speak to her, but I was so enthusiastic, and she loved Kripalu after I took her that first time. She's
Yeah.
like, all right, I'm in. Especially if you're buying, Mom, I'm in. So we
Smart
went.
girl.
Yes, right. And so we went, and he's just a lovely, lovely person.
Oh,
But it was
I want to
so
meet him.
like I had no idea who he was. I just knew it was about past life regression. I hadn't read his books at that point. Never encountered him in any other way. And it was just, when I think back on it, it's like, wow, how amazing it was that there were 25, 30 of us in, the workshop. And so you're
Yeah.
right there in this small room talking to him, interacting with him. And he had a book signing while we were there. And Michael and I went and bought both of his books. So he only had two out at that time. The instruction, and there's a
Uh-huh.
subtitle to that, and then the
Right.
transformation, and there's a subtitle to that. But so we got a chance to interact with him. We got his books. We went to the book signing, and it wasn't just like you're filing through. We actually came and sat down and chatted with him, and he's just a lovely, lovely, lovely person. And so
Yeah.
then, and had some really interesting experiences in the workshop where I actually was able to, and he kept saying, don't second guess it. Don't worry if you're making it up. Like it's just that you're fantasizing. Just go with whatever happens. And I remember having some really powerful experiences. They weren't like, I expected it to be like like I'm in a movie, right? I step back in time and I can see everything and hear everything, and it's vivid. And it really wasn't like that. But I had some very strong sensations. The very first one I had was of being a young man. I was handcuffed. I was standing before a judge, and the judge just made this dramatic, like with the finger pointing, get out of here kind of thing. And I just knew that I was taken away forever. Like I was locked up and I died in jail, or I was executed or something. And just tears streaming down. I'm laying on the ground in this meditation, just wetting the carpet, essentially. So
Yeah.
just some really powerful stuff. So I couldn't wait to read his books, right, and to find out more about him.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got out of that workshop experience and said, Jenny, you've got to have these books.
You gotta get these books. So yeah, so I got his books too. I ordered them immediately because this is what we do.
Yes,
I said, I
we
gotta
have
read it. I
piles. We
gotta
have
read it. I gotta
piles
read
of
it.
books waiting to go
Oh
through.
my gosh, yes. So yeah, so and they were, you know, different but similar to Dr. Weiss, and
Right.
in the messages that Ainsley receives from his soul guides. We
Right.
all have them. guardian angels, we have those too. Whether you believe in them or not, they're there helping you. So, yeah, so it just was amazing, and we ended up deciding to book sessions with him,
We did.
and that was amazing. Do you want me to go next to
Yeah,
just
go
share a
ahead.
little
Yeah,
bit
go
about
ahead.
my?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, and I don't mind sharing a little bit of what I have notes, but I didn't look at them, of course, before I came in here to do the podcast with you. But I remember one of the questions, because I suffered with migraines, really bad tension headaches and migraines that started oddly enough when I was in school as a nurse practitioner. I started getting headaches. Well, actually, with my third and fourth pregnancies, truth be told, and just some wicked migraines with nausea, vomiting, dry heaving, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And um, and then it became a real pattern for me working for the first doctor I worked with for 5 years. It was
Yeah.
very stressful. I would have like tension headaches, and then by Thursday or Friday, the end of the week, they built to migraines, and I always woke up at 3 a.m. 3 a.m. is like, I call it my bewitching hour. If I ever was going to get sick from eating something that didn't agree with me, or I think part of it was just stress too, 3 a.m. is a time I wake up and would throw up or wake up and the migraines, and it felt like I had this lance. Like I always described it that way. It's like somebody shot a javelin through my right eye and out the back of my head, and it just was like this explosive pain. Just I swear I swore my eyeball was going to explode. I mean, the pain was unreal, and the back, and it would, yeah, it would be very debilitating. I still would have to go to work, and I still would have to function.
Ugh.
And I tried so many different everything. Um, I was on different medicines to try and stop it. The beta blockers dropped my heart to 50 and made me feel like
Ugh.
I was going to pass out. I mean, I tried everything. Um, so many different medicines to try and prevent them, and they made me, I called them my stupid pills, because it just made me feel so like I'm walking through molasses all day. I'm just like, okay, the headache isn't as intense, but I feel like I can't function. I mean, those days every once in a while. I mean, and I
Oh
would
my
work
God.
like this with these migraines, and I would, I'd be talking to people, and I couldn't get my words out, and I'm like, they're gonna think I'm having a stroke, and I would just have to tell them I'm having a migraine today, so I know what I want to say, but my mouth is not cooperating with my brain, and it just was embarrassing. But I mean, I was living with this and trying to be pleasant. This was after my fourth baby, and trying to be pleasant with the kids and my husband, and trying to be pleasant with patients all day. And I don't know. I don't know how I got through those years, honestly. And so anyway, so when I met with Ainslie, I said, okay, I've been struggling with these migraines since my third and fourth child, and it's not their fault. And I said, I've wondered after reading Brian Weiss books, did I die on a battlefield? Was I a Viking? I mean, I literally would get these, these images. And he said, yes, and yes, you've you've died a number of times from from wounds to the head. You've been in a lot of battles. So I'm like, well, that makes sense. And it's interesting because Ainsley talks about how just connecting with the guides and just giving just even brief details of a past life
Right.
help to get whatever that manifestation is, that physical manifestation that you're struggling with. It helps it to go away. Well, doggone it, if those migraines, I haven't had the dry heaves at 3 a.m. with the migraines in a long time. And menopause helps too. but even when the really bad pressure storms would come through, especially thunderstorms,
Yeah.
I still will get a little bit of a pressure. It's like I call it my barometer in my head. But I don't have and the waking up at 3 a.m. and vomiting from foods or whatever. Now I have modified what I eat. I mean, I'm mostly a plant girl, and some carbs that I depending on my stress level. But it's really interesting that I haven't had a lot of those symptoms, or the certainly I can't remember the last time I woke up at 3 a.m. with vomiting or a headache like that.
Right.
So it's really interesting just hearing some of the things that the guides shared with me during that session with Ainslie, and those symptoms went away. So I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't care if it's placebo effect or if it's because of the connection of a past life. I don't care. It's gone, and
Right.
I'm not living on Zofran and migraine medicine.
Yeah.
Which is awesome.
Well, he describes
So
it as when you do that, when you like he talks to his guides and you can ask questions and he pulls information for him wherever the guides feed it to him and he tells you that's kind of how it works.
right.
And he says that once you get that information, it's essentially reminding your soul that that was then, this is
Yes.
now. Right? Yes,
Exactly.
you did die with a lance in your left eye, your right eye, right eye.
Yeah.
Um,
Right.
sometime, somewhere, but it's not happening now. Right?
Yeah.
Don't keep doing that.
Right.
Yeah, he has really interesting stories, just like Brian Weiss did in his books. One of the ones I remember the most was most striking to me is he did a session with a woman who was trying so hard to conceive. Right, she really wanted to have a child, and she just wasn't able to. And she'd been to doctors, and they couldn't really figure out what the problem was. And she did this session with Ainslie, and he went back to a past life where she had become pregnant outside of marriage, and was essentially shunned by everyone, and ended up delivering this child all by herself, kind of on the edge of a field, and bled out. Right, she was maternal deaths were common in those days, and so like her soul was remembering that having a baby was dangerous, essentially, and that was the idea, is that that was blocking her fertility. And it, again, whether it's placebo effect or what it is, she was able to conceive after she, kind of her soul got the perspective of, okay, that's not what's happening in this life. It's not
Yeah.
dangerous in this life to have a baby, like it might have
Right.
been. When
Yeah.
I did a session with Ainslie where he went and he's talked about, he always asks, like, what is it, like, you can ask questions of him, which I did.
Mm-hmm.
But he also asked his guys, what's the thing that's most important for you to know
Yes.
right now,
Yeah.
right at this moment in time? And so he took me back to a time when one of the things he says is that sometimes people have fears of other people because of what happened to them in a past life, and there's certain parts of the world that I would love to go visit, and some that I absolutely don't want to go visit. And there's not really a, like, one of mine is Germany. Like, I have no desire to see Germany, none whatsoever. And everybody
That's
tells me
interesting.
been there tells me it's beautiful.
Yeah.
He took me to this past life where I was a daughter in a relatively wealthy family, but people came in and killed my father and brother in front of me, and I ended up in prison, and I was beheaded at a young age, and the way he described it, it seemed like it was a German-French sort of thing, like I was a French family and Germans were invading, and there's that part of France, Alsace. Anyway, since I've studied French history and French language and all that, I had this whole thing that I had seemed like it made sense to me as he was telling me this stuff. But he asked me, so I was beheaded. He said, eventually you went crazy. You were in prison, you kind of lost your mind, and you were eventually beheaded. And I had some really interesting physical relief in my shoulders around that, right? That there's that chronic neck and shoulder thing that you and I both struggled with, but there seemed to be another layer of healing related to hearing that story. And he asked me point blank, as he was kind of describing what the guys wanted me to know about that life, he said, have you ever been worried that you were losing your mind or that you're going crazy? And I considered it for a moment, and I said, no, not really. Not really. I don't remember consciously thinking that. And then as the years, so Ainslie was, after Brian Weiss, after the Reiki, like we're moving down this path. And I realized that maybe a couple years after that reading, I thought, oh, now, right now is what I'm thinking. Oh, people are going to think I'm nuts because I did a regression therapy session. I'm studying Reiki. It's like, oh, you were telling me it's coming. That's what you were telling me. Okay, good, got it.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah. So it's So, but again, it's just fascinating to hear the stories that people tell through
Yeah.
his books, and he talks about how we come they're like 10 soul types. Like there's the educator, the creator, the spiritualist, which almost everybody around us is, right? You, me, our
Yeah.
spouses, our children. And you choose that kind of type because that's kind of the path you're going to take. That's the
Yeah.
influence in your life that you're going to have. And there are lessons that we learn, and different ways those lessons can manifest themselves. And it just I found it really interesting. It made me helped me think about things in a new way. Um,
Yeah.
there's I'm trying to think what he calls it. There's this like major contradiction. Like people want to be connected, but they also kind of uh, maybe keep people a little bit at distance, right? There's like a safety issue or something. And
Yeah.
I felt like I've struggled with that at times,
Oh
right?
yeah. Me
And
too.
so that made sense to me when I read that. I thought, oh, okay, so that's a lesson. That's something that you might decide you want to work on to try to find that where's that boundary, right, between connectedness and individuality that we experience on this plane through the ego.
Yeah.
So
And I liked Ainslie's writings about our soul life plan, that we all have one. We all come in, okay, here are the milestones I want to hit. This is what I want to learn in this life. I want to improve on. I want to, and
mhm,
we have our soul tribe, our people that we love and have been connected with, these souls, over and over and over and over and over again. And yeah, it was really fascinating because I didn't really want to hear that. He shared with me, and I think I told you it that my life plan had been kind of derailed by our parents, and he
yeah,
did share that the his soul guides, my soul guides, his soul guides, talking to each other, said basically that, um yeah, my life plan was derailed, and that was a major karma for my parents. And
yeah,
I was really sad. I remember just feeling so sad,
yeah,
because I've never looked at my life, and my husband is amazing. He's my best friend. Our children, my connection, with you as my sister, and Jim and Michael, and your
yeah.
Al, and our
My family,
families are.
yep,
Um, and the friendships I've had, I haven't had a lot of close friendships, and I attribute that to, our adverse childhood experiences, but the ones that I've had have been really meaningful. And and I am definitely a hermit in a lot of ways. I retreat to my animals and nature, and
yes,
I'm sure that's something I've probably done over and over again. It's a comfort thing for me.
yeah,
Um, but I was really sad to hear that so whatever my life plan was, it didn't happen the way I had wanted to, and that's okay.
yeah,
But I've tried, and it's interesting because you're talking about the different traits, soul traits that we take on. I mean, you and I are, we both have the spiritualist, and I have the creator and the hunter and the healer and the caregiver. And there's I think they're like
the 10,
7 or, yeah, they're 10, and I had like
you had a
7 or
bunch,
8. I
yeah,
had a ton. And he
yeah,
was like, "This is a little unusual." He said, but it was oh well. But I really have been, and it's funny because, I've never thought of myself as like being pigeonholed in a group. Do you know what I mean?
yeah,
I love all kinds of people, and the more unique, the better. I love individuals. I love characters. I love, it's just, to me it's very fascinating, and I enjoy the uniqueness and the differences, I guess. Just like being in a play, it's
hmm,
it's it's fun. It's entertaining. It's interesting. And so, yeah, so I have many interests, and it's okay to pick one up now and put it down, and then do another one for a little while, and so that's kind of how my life has been, I think. And I, told Ainslie, I said, I don't want to have, I don't ever want to have grudges. I've had some
Yeah.
good, some people that we've loved that held grudges their whole lives, and I don't. Our grandmothers both, I think,
Right.
struggled with that,
Right.
and loved them dearly, and but don't want to. I didn't want. I even as a little kid, I'm like, I don't want to. I don't want to be angry like that,
Yeah.
or feel that way
Right.
towards someone, because it traps you,
Right.
and I think that that's what made me so sad in my reading, and he said, I release my parents, I love them, I truly do, I send them love and light, but I'm not doing this with them again.
Right. I I asked him that
It's like,
question point blank.
yeah,
I said, can I just bless them and send them on their way
yeah,
karmically? Do I have to
yeah,
do it? He said, no, no,
yeah.
you don't have to do it again.
Yeah, so it made me really sad when the guides shared that they've got some major karma, and it's like, that makes me
Yeah.
sad,
Yeah, I
because I don't.
don't wish them ill in any way.
Yeah, I don't, and anybody, and I just want, just want peace, love, and rock and roll.
Yeah,
I just want everybody to make music and be happy, and
right. Right.
do what makes your heart sing. So yeah, so so that's what karma is really. In what I've my understanding is not a. I have a really hard time with hellfire and brimstone. It makes much more sense
Even
to me
punishment.
that,
Yeah.
yeah, even punishment. I have a really hard time with that. Um, but I totally resonate, and my heart resonates with, this person did something that wasn't part of the plan. This was a really bad, not good thing, and but but we all learned something from it, right?
Right.
And so this person is gonna do some extra chores somewhere along the
Right.
line.
You got to earn
Clean up
some extra
rocks.
credit.
Gonna have to work some extra credit somewhere to make up for that. Paying it forward, maybe
Yes.
maybe 10 times
Right.
fold.
Right.
To help others and go out of the way at a cost to them. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Some sore muscles and some sweat and tears, to make things better for others. And that's what I think of as karma. It's, how can I make this better? How can I make this right for you? And if I can't do it for you, then how can I do it for other people?
Right.
Because we've all done things that we look back on and say, "Oh crap, why
I
did I
should not have
do that?
done that.
Why
Yeah.
did I say that? Why didn't I do something more? Why didn't I,
Right. Right.
whatever karma, whatever thing it is, and so that's really what karma is. Or, if you want to call it sin, when you wrong someone, it's like, how can I make this right and fix it, you
Right.
know? And if you don't have the opportunity to fix it and make it right for that person, then how can you help other people?
Right.
And that's I think what these messages are about, is being a better person, being the best version of yourself, and helping others to be the best version of
Yeah.
themselves.
And I guess the thing that also appeals to me, I think I probably said this something similar in another context. We were talking about reincarnation, but my sense of social justice just, it bothers me to think that people are born into this plane once and only once in such disparate circumstances, right? Some people are
Yeah.
horrifically abused from start to end, and others live very cushy, comfortable lives. And I really, really, really hope this is right, right? That this is the way we live. That we just get lots and lots of chances, and that the universe is both infinite and patient, and that we get
Yeah.
many opportunities to, and loving, right?
Yeah.
Many
Mhm.
opportunities to get it right and to
Yeah.
learn. When I took my yoga and teacher training, there was a phrase that one of my teachers used once, and I loved it. It says, "There is no wrong, there is only learning."
Yeah.
And so, like you said, no matter what happens, we all learn from the situation. Some people are sort of in the right, and some are in the wrong in some circumstances, but we're all learning from that. We're all learning. If you're being harmed, you know you don't want it to happen again. You don't want to do it to somebody else. Hopefully, the
Yeah.
person who's doing the harming learns, oh, gee, that was bad. I should not have done that. Let me try to do better next time. Um,
Yeah.
I just, it just appeals to me. It appeals to my heart, right? That's the
Yeah.
way the universe would work. So
Yeah.
that's the way I choose to approach living.
Yep. Me too. So
So
we
that's
love you, Ainsley.
we do. We do love you. He is just the sweetest soul. If anybody has a chance to, and he has a third book out now, which is the Old Soul Guidebook. Right? Am I remembering that
Which
correctly? Yes,
I need to
I haven't
get.
read that yet. Full disclosure, I haven't read that one yet. So
No,
many good things out there to read, and the stack is getting so high.
that's on
But
my. That's gonna be on the list though.
but he's just wonderful. He does have a like you can find him and sign up for his mailing lists, and he does a
Yeah.
every Sunday now. I think he started with the pandemic or maybe before the pandemic. He does Old Soul Sunday. He does just a little half hour kind of virtual gathering, and he's just, I mean, just being around him is just a lovely experience because he just is a
Yeah.
gentle soul.
Very kind, very
Yeah.
loving soul.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So well, so I hope you'll read one of his books or check him out and see what you think. Does he speak to you? Certainly would love any feedback that you have on any experiences. Some of you probably have already encountered him. You might let us know what you think about his work if you've had a chance to work with him individually.
Yes.
Yeah, so we'd love that kind of feedback too.
Awesome.
But until then, what are we doing, Jenny?
Wishing you so much love and so much light.
And so, so many blessings. Be
Yes.
well, everyone.